Friends, Shabbat Shalom and greetings to you all. Birthday greetings go out to Noah and Yaakov, and I can guarantee there are big things coming in the year ahead. You can just feel the growing energy. And this week also saw Blessed Bodhi Day, and I'll tell you, you do not have to sit under a tree with no food for 7 days to attain enlightenment. It's always there. It's always within reach. And I have a special guest today. You can't see him, but my good friend Snoopy's here. Now, we're of course getting closer to Hanukkah. It's a great holiday of miracles, and the first day is the 13th. And so it begins the night of the 12th. We always begin a day the evening before. So you light the first candle on the night of the 12th. Now, most people say they're lighting a menorah, word meaning lamp, but the menorah was very specific. It was the 7-branched lamp made specifically for the tabernacle, and so the lamp lit for Hanukkah is actually not a menorah. It's most properly referred to as a Hanukkah, and while they come in different shapes and sizes, they all have 8 candles at the same height and in line, and there's a 9th misaligned candle. Now, it specifically represents the miracle of the oil burning for 8 days instead of 1, and the candles representing the nights are each lit by that 9th, the shamash, the service or helper candle. Now, the menorah is actually a far more symbolic, far more holy object because it is one of the tabernacle objects. It's probably the oldest symbol of the Jewish faith. It has no out-of-place shamash. Its 7 branches represent so many things. We can do an evening on it alone, and it only comes in one design. Now, the Hanukkah stands for light, wisdom, and divine inspiration. And this is the darkest month of the year, so in this period of darkness, we welcome the approaching festival of lights and the timeless lessons that the holy menorah also brought along. This is the holiday of miracles, my friends. And as you're aware, it's a holiday that's actually mentioned nowhere in the Tanakh, the Hebrew Bible. And as I said last time, I'll talk a little bit more about the holiday each week over the next few weeks. So for this week, know that not even the 2 books of the Maccabees in the Bible refer to the miracle of the jar with sufficient pure oil to last for just 1 day, but which miraculously burned for 8. It's much later in the record of the Talmud that this is offered as any kind of an explanation. In fact, one late Midrash source, called Pesikta Rabbatai, explains the origin of the 8 lights quite differently, stating that when the Maccabeans entered the ruined and dark temple, they found 8 iron spears, which they hammered into the ground and used as supports for containers of oil, which they then lit. Now, the pre-Talmudic sources seem to know absolutely nothing about the miracle of the oil. But of course, this is the explanation that we all know and that we all tell everybody and that we all celebrate. And so it's nice that in the coming week we can remove ourselves from, whatever reality we have and enter a world of miracles, of light. Because no matter what it was, it is the festival of light, the festival of miracles, of hopes, dreams, and wishes. Speaking of miracles, what a miracle was presented the other day, the recognition of Jerusalem, a country's 3,000-year-old capital, as its capital. Or maybe the miracle is a politician keeping a promise. Not really a politician, but still it's interesting and always a pleasure to see somebody keeping a promise who's in a position of power. We live in a political world. Love don't have any place. We're living in times where men commit crimes. Crime don't have any face. We live in a political world. Everything is hers and his. Climb into the frame. Shout God's name, but you're never sure what it is. Well, God really only has one name. Whatever name you use, it is the name that God will answer to. It's hard to believe that this is a song that came out in '89, but is more applicable today than ever before. We do live in a political world. And it feels like a miracle to me how every week we come together and celebrate as a like-minded group, in a showing of faith as a community, a chavura fellowship, as we join together to express our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes that actually does unite us all. As we come together every week in this community house of spirit, Beth Ruach, house of spirit. So once again, please do go ahead and invite everybody you know, physically, psychically, emotionally, spiritually, to gather and share from Psalm 133, the Hine Matov, Hine Matov, Umanayim, Shevitahim Gam, Yachad, Hine Matov, Umanayim, Shevitahim Gam, Yachad, How good, how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community, 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 together. So as a community, let us all spread love, goodwill, and fellowship to the world, my friends. And another miracle that takes place all the time is the one that when we send prayers to heal and renew the energy of all those in need. So for Gary, Marcel, and Aubrey, for Ben and Jackie, for Mordechai ben Yitzhak, Eri ben Shoshana, for Phil, for Devorah, and for all of you. So let's take time to think of others, to share energy and renew and send healing renewal to all and to everybody you can think of now. Just as emails keep coming for the memorial service, you can send emails for the names of those you want prayers for. The kindness, healing, wishes, goodwill, and love that we all send out. It keeps circling the world, finding those in need. So thank you, each of you, for all you do, for all you care. Because the world is a world of spirit, and spirit, my friends, never dies. Mi Shabbat Avoteinu Makor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength, we bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit. And let us say, Amen. Misha Barak, let us all have our spirits renewed the world over. Now this week, we read Vayashev, and he settled. And now that's something we all have done, but in this time of miracles, keep in mind that it is something you do not have to do. Now I said that this month of Kislev is the month of dreams. Well, this week is a whirlwind of dreams. We've reached the beginning of the story of the most famous biblical character of all. We're beginning what I like to refer to as the Joseph Chronicles. There is more written about him in the Bible than anyone. And what is his big difference? Well, dream, 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 dreams. Dreams, my friend, we begin with him dreaming of himself and his own greatness and not knowing the meaning. And we end with him becoming the great interpreter, the great dream master, as we hear the dreams of the two prisoners, the butler and the baker. It's like we're being shown the first superpower. Dream interpreter is born. Now, the first divine power possessed by a human in the Tanakh is the interpretation of dreams. We should also note that something changes in Joseph. At the beginning of his story, he appeared not to be too aware of the prophetic import of his own dreams, but by the end, he's able to interpret the dreams of others. And then he'll be able to interpret the dreams of Pharaoh, affecting the destiny of countries and of his own family. We get a capsulization of his life. He's a pariah to his brothers. He's sold and seduced. And in the middle of the story is this Judah and Tamar story, an amazing tale that takes 20 years to develop. And while it does not really belong here, it's truly worth a read and a discussion on its own, because it's a story of judgment, of a coat of many colors, of levirate marriage. It's a cornucopia of biblical imagery and simile, so do not miss it and ask your spiritual advisor about it. Now, perhaps other than with Cain and Abel, who seem to have differences over whose sacrifices God preferred, sibling rivalry stems from the parents. Now, we don't know much about Leah and Rachel and their competition, which they certainly had, but Esau and Jacob's problems came from parents who favored one over the other. And Jacob has carried that extreme thought with him, and he lived his entire family life favoring one and creating hatred among all. Jacob and sons was nothing like what was really taking place. And remember, Jacob was the object of his mother's unexplained favoritism, so this might have been a natural occurrence to him. We are introduced to Joseph, a narcissistic stool pigeon, hated by his brothers, and probably with some good reason. He cannot be blamed for being his father's obvious favorite. Hey, we see the coat of many colors bestowed on him, but his bad attitude toward his brothers was uncalled for. Brothers should stick together, but he spied on them and he squealed on them. Genesis 37:4. And his brothers saw that their father loved him most of all the brothers, and they hated him, and they were not able to speak a greeting to him. Now that is incredible, my friends. They could not even greet him. Dibaro la shalom, to speak even words of greeting. Now that's an awful lot of hate. Friends, he is his own worst enemy, and maybe just out of naivete. Who knows? Genesis 37:5. And Joseph had a dream and told it to his brothers, and they went on to hate him even more. I dreamed I saw St. Augustine, alive as you or me, tearing through these corridors in the utmost misery, with the blanket underneath his arm and a coat of solid gold, searching for the very souls who already had been sold. Now we're seeing someone who had a coat not of gold, but of many colors. It's an unknown item biblically, and he was sold on more than one occasion. Now this is the beginning of the Dream Master legacy. He begins with his dreams, which he cannot interpret, and he'll end up with the greatest dream interpreter until Freud brought back the significance and brilliance of dream analysis in the 20th century. Now, one of the interesting things in his initial dreams, the one about the wheat and then the one about the stars, points to some interesting time issues. His father says, Genesis 37:10, "Shall we come, I and your mother and your brothers, to bow to you to the ground?" So when was this? His mother was already dead, unless this incident occurred earlier, and the 11th brother Benjamin was born when his mother died. Friends, always beware the timeline of biblical lore. Now, the importance is the role of the wheat and of the star. It's not about, what the actual dream says. Now, he's sent out to spy on his brothers, and they see him coming, and they hate him so much, like I said, that they think about killing him. Well, instead, they throw him in a pit, and then a little later, they pull him back out. Genesis 37:27. Come on, let's sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let our hand not be on him, because he's our brother, our flesh. Well, they think in terms of deception. They can get rid of him, but not sully their hands. Where did they learn deception from? And friends, note, this is actually the only other mention of the children of Ishmael in the Bible. Genesis 37:28. And they sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 weights of silver. Now, this is a karmic amount. Watch for it. It's going to recur. We are in the midst of a huge karmic tale. Genesis 37:31. And they took Joseph's coat and they slaughtered a he-goat and dipped the coat in the blood. Jacob was paid back for appropriating his brother's birthright. He had to work an additional 7 years for Rachel on account of her sister's birthright, and now he's likewise paid back for appropriating his brother's blessing. He deceived his father using his brother's clothing and the meat and skins of a goat. Now his own sons deceive him using their brother's clothing and the blood of a goat. Now, what is fantastic is that the Torah does not excuse Jacob's behavior. It neither praises nor vilifies. That was left to interpreters and commentators, and there's plenty of that. Instead, it teaches that such acts have consequences. Friends, your acts have consequences, and an amazing series of events cascades through the echoes of time as a result of the choices made. Genesis 39:1. And Joseph had been brought down to Egypt, and an Egyptian man, Potiphar, an official of Pharaoh, chief of the guards, bought him from the hand of the Ishmaelites who had brought him down there. Well, this very incident will actually be called the work of God by the grown Joseph. Something that can only be said by standing at a distance and seeing the whole. And we saw Jacob go through change, but stay the same. We will watch now as the stool pigeon narcissistic attention seeker will grow to be wise and rule an empire. And it stems from and centers on dreams. They are a magical thing. Now, the biblical belief in dreams was strong. There was no questioning of interpretation, no looking for proof. The two we conclude this week with the prisoners, and then in the famous dreams of Pharaoh next week, demonstrate that. They just need the answer. Just as we also see when you read the story about Daniel and Nebuchadnezzar, the acceptance of interpretation was everything to the royals. Now, I recently was with a friend who had a dream she needed to interpret, and we happened to be speaking to a modern-day Joseph. and the interpretation was truly incredible. The two of us sat and listened in awe, but my friend kept arguing because the events as laid out in the dream did not take place. Now today we want proof. Now where would we be if Joseph were unheeded? Where would we be if Pharaoh says next week, I see no drought? Friends, this is another of the great stories of faith. The gift of interpretation was understood to be a gift of God. Hence, faith. Yes, the world is sacred. So is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom, be happy, be well, be blessed. Share and honor the light and all who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone, an end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we are a community. We learn together, we celebrate each other, we love each other. We share this ride together, men and women equally. Let us send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing to all who need it. And we all do need it. And please do learn to forgive and learn to love, including yourself. Open your hearts, honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. Take advantage of the time you have. Enjoy the journey. We take the twists and turns and the patterns that weave through the fabric of our lives in our effort to grow, to learn, to be, to love. So please do love. Now bless you all. Have a fantastic week, a week of love and light, a week of peace, a week of miracles. Examine your intentions and use them to imprint your will on the universe. Remember, we do set in motion all that happens in our lives. Our intention, our kavana, our cause, our effect, everything is linked. As I've said, you always have time to forgive and to be forgiven because you do have the knowledge of what is good and bad. So acknowledge what you have done wrong to yourself, to God, and to any person you've wronged. Then ask forgiveness. Do so with sincerity, accountability, and vulnerability. Forgive those who've hurt you as you learn to be forgiving and be compassionate. The secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace is in acceptance. Can you accept yourself? Can you accept other people, the world, just as they are on any given day? Can you accept life just as it is without trying to control it? If you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. And do not stop your journey. Do not stop moving towards your promised land. Now, keep on dreaming. Keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining, keep teaching, keep spreading joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear, follow love. It's always there in front of you. And remember to have faith, an unwavering adherence to principle. Just as I have faith in the principle of love and of all of you, please act with purity of heart and mind. Despise none, defraud none, hate none. Cherish all, honor every child of God, every creature of the earth. Don't hate somebody enough that you can't even say hello to them. May all people know peace in this year. And may you nurture kindness and love everywhere you go. Work to be present in the body. Expand your heart, quiet your mind, because the deepest source of real power lies in your consciousness and the ability to be mindful, to be aware, to be present in all circumstances. Now make the most of your time in this life. Continue to touch and transform the lives of all those around you. You are never alone. You are forever blessed and have the ability to bring blessings to everybody you meet. Health, love, renewal to everybody you come across. We're all energy, and energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed. Friends, your words are your power to transform, to love, to bless. So be generous with them. Bless others and bless yourself. Love with the heart. We are all part of a greater whole. Embrace love, not fear, forgiveness, not anger. Be there for someone because someone is always going to be there for you, whether you know it or not. And do not stop asking questions and do not stop seeing the miracles of your life because they're there all the time. We share everything together. We help each other. And in this special month, my friends, keep on dreaming. Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the 7 seas. Everybody's looking for something. We're all looking. Everybody is looking for something. The world is yours. Do not settle. Be happy. Be healthy. Be helpful. Be kind and be loving. Be generous. Be thankful. Something we simply give. And the more you give, the more you do get. And start noticing the miracles in your life, my friends, because they're there all around. And I will see you all next week. Shabbat shalom and blessings to you all. Take care. Bye.